What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and did you hear the bell? That means it's Wednesday and it's Market Watch. So without further ado, let's talk about all the amazing cards, and let's see, we put a little gamble, shall we? How many cards will I screw up saying today? So without further ado, let's dive into the video and talk about it. So first off, we know that Tactical Retreat is getting something quite special for itself. And that is that it's getting a alternate art in the advanced deck for Beelzestarr. So, without that Tactical Retreat, I don't think you touch this card, without any doubt in my mind. Get the common printing, and just let the pre-release fall. There's no point in picking up a pre-release stamp when an alternate art is basically in, you know, what would it be? April? Maybe March, April? So, definitely not worth picking this up. Don't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Just let it fall. If you have it, trade bait it. It's just really all you're going to really want to do with it. Don't spend money on it. Maybe worth trading for cards away. On the Europe side, they're looking like $8 cards, €8. That's not bad for its price. If we were $8, maybe I would suggest having them, but with the reprint around the corner, this should start filling up in the markets. Because most people don't hold on to cards that have alternate arts coming. They'll hold on to it to an extent, but once the alternate art drops, there's no reason for it. Because at least you're guaranteed one Tactical Retreat in that box. So, Argomon. Argomon is another card I wouldn't touch with the 10-foot pole either. This card has another alternate art that looks so clean that it's just, I wouldn't pick this one. I really like that alternate art. Yes, it's in an advanced deck. This would be classified high rarity for some people, but alternate art with a foiling on top of that is kind of out, sometimes can out-trump these event pack stuff, just because easier accessibility is something that most people want, and I feel like this is just another card you would just trade away. I don't see any point in investing into this while there is a reprint with an alternate art around the corner. And then we look like on the Europe side, €5. If you could get Argomon from EX2, Event Pack 2, that's going to be better in your investment. If you could get them for $5, like $5.10 in American, that I could get behind. I don't suggest $20. It's just, that's too much for a card. And even justification, it's just way too much. Especially, we want to talk about it. There is another way around it. That mid-rarity that is Agumon Digifest. It does have all the fantastic foiling and stuff like that. It just doesn't have that art same style. But we do have the alternate art around the corner. If you wanted something to hold yourself over instead of blowing out all that money for, 4 copies of a $20 card, and you want to wait, but you want to have at least some foil in your deck, pick up the Digifest. Digifest is actually a really solid alternative. It is $1, maybe $1.50 or $2. So picking up a playset of this at that price, I get behind. That's something I can get behind, and it'll hold you over until the alternate art comes out, and that's what you really want. You want to be able to play max rarity, but sometimes you just find a way around the expensive cards and just play mid rarity. Looking like €20, 20 cents. That's not bad for the Europe side. That's pretty decent in my opinion. So, just something to really think about. Veedramon from DC1 Grand Prix. This card is still holding around the $125 mark. What's very interesting to me is that there's actually been buy-ins into this card. This card doesn't actually see much competitive play. Even with the Veedramon deck, all-force Veedramon deck, Veedramon I didn't see it in the list. So I don't justify for behind this. I get that people are probably trying to brew home brews and stuff like that still and tinkering, but I don't see it worth it in my opinion. Yes, it is the max rarity, but I don't see people. There's also, foiling in the starter for this version anyway, so it's not a bad idea to avoid this. On the Europe side, it's about 110 euros. I mean, hey, Beelzestarr. This card, I was always on the fence of looking at. This card is the max rarity version for Beelzestarr, and yes, I was kind of teetering depending on what the Beelzestarr from, the advanced deck did. It doesn't look like they coincide with each other. So she's more focused on Impmon stuff. So she's more focused for Beelzemon itself. She doesn't interact with the options. She's not really being a 3 Musketeer. I mean, she reduces and comes in for reduced cost by herself and can pull an Impmon out, which could lead to cycling in. So she could support the deck in a way slightly because she does a different way of reducing her cost. So just looking at possibilities here. Looking at it, it's a $63 card. I don't know if she's going to be worth it in the end game. On the Europe side, she's 45, so I would be about $47 roughly, because the euro is slightly more than the dollar again. Beelzestarr from its regular art is $16. I am really trying to say her name correctly and not screwing it up. But she is about $16. So that is pretty fair pricing for a secret. So I think if you do plan on playing her, definitely get yourself that playset. On the Europe side, 12 euros, so about $13. So we're only $2 ahead. So when we're kind of close like that, the card is kind of justified. When you see that big gaps is when you don't really want to touch the card. Omnimon alternate art, don't touch this with a 10-foot pole. You guys could really just be trading these away, because if you bought 4 of those box sets, you get this art with a gold anniversary 1 stamp. Yes, this card is the first printing, but it's sometimes collector item, which is those anniversary boxes and stuff like that, do outweigh like the first printings, because they are limited stock runs. They are classified the high rarities because they are not like printed for anything else but that run. So I know this is a harder card to get in Digimon itself, because this was a chase card, but it's good to see this card coming down anyway. And this card should fall down even more once we get closer and closer to March, when we get that box set released. Looking at it, it is really expensive on the Europe side. It is about $60. Not worth it. Not worth it at all. Commandramon from BT03 Event Pack 1. Don't touch this. This is ridiculous. $70 is not worth it. $80 is not worth it. This card is not worth it in that condition. I can understand maybe the $30 range, maybe, but we know how Bandai operates. They like to reprint stuff. They'll reprint this card in another art and anything like that, and then once that does, people aren't going to care as long as you have to achieve it similar ways. So if it's foiled and you have to go to your locals and win it at first place, that's going to cause this to come down, because both are basically as equal to achieve, and it's down like who wants what, and usually a second printing usually causes an influx in value. And then we got on the Europe side, 24 euros. That I can get behind. $26? Yeah. Toy Agumon from Event Pack 2. This card, just let it go. Let it go. This is not worth the $20 at all. Guys, the card isn't even heavily played. There's no reason for this to hold this value. And, I mean, we also have the DigiFest ones if you guys aren't trying to rush for this. Looking at it, 4 euros on the Europe side. Yeah, that's about it there. Premium deck, starter deck 12 Jesmon. And, this whole box set itself, I wouldn't touch. To be honest with you, it's not worth it. You get 2 of each of these promos, which, to be honest with you, should have been released months and months ago. And then the only coveted chase card is going to be Fly Bullet and Madoki Beta. So you're spending almost $100 for this thing. I wouldn't touch it. It's not worth it. Fly Bullet, $22 here. This card is still coming down because people are opening up boxes. And since the starter decks are coming out this week, there's just no reason because it didn't come with the Tamers. And if it came with the Tamers, I would have said, yeah, that might have been worth it because now there's an influx and stuff like that. But $22, you can buy 4 playsets for one of that boxes. Is it worth it? No, I wouldn't say so. Madoki Beta from Premium Pack Set Lucky Pack, about $15. About 20 actually because of the $5 shipping. But $20 holding, I expected this to sit there. To be honest with you, people want their, Lucky Pack stuff. And Madoki Beta will probably come down eventually. On the Europe side, €20. Kind of expected that, 21. Cool Boy from X Record is about $19. Not bad, actually. $19 from his hype price at like 30 is really good to see him coming down. People are speculating that we should be seeing the hit sooner than later for Alphamon, and that means also people are just moving out of this because they already are going on the assumption that Shoutmon, aka Crossheart, is going to be the deck you want to play anyway. So meta calls usually happen like this in most card games because they just move on to the next best deck. So that creates an influx of all these cards that were highly coveted to flood in. So just something to look at. Europe side, about €5. I would love to see it at that price. Omnimon Merciful Mode definitely saw some crazy buys recently. Is that just because of hype, or is this just because it was just bubbling into that? People have just been slowly buying it. Looks like it's a slow buy-in, so it's nothing too crazy here. Now it's a $31 card. I mean, it's anime related. It's a fan favorite Digimon. I can see where the value is, but I don't justify getting at it. So that's just me. Outside of that, on the Europe side, €13 still. That's pretty solid. If we go back down to that, I say pick up around then. But right now, I wouldn't recommend picking it up at that price. Machine Dramon from Classic Collection. This card reached $23, but now it's kind of in an acceptable $18 range. $18 for this card, especially if you guys plan on playing Machine Dramon in EX3, might be worth the pickup before, someone makes a tier 1 deck profile. But outside of that, we have Classic Collection, and this card is pretty solid here. €16, not bad at all. That's $17. So we're roughly the same. So when we're the same, I feel like it's actually a good investment to pick up when they're both equal. So when you see that big gap, it's not. So Gammamon from Official Tournament Pack Volume 5. This card here, I don't see the value in it. I really don't see it. I see it's because, well, you have Hero in play. This Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP. We have, Agumon, stuff like that. I get that it makes it so the synergy because that is such a, archetypal deck, tribal deck that just needs all the Gammamons you can get. But this feels like a card that can just get easily replaced in late game. The only card that doesn't feel like you can replace is the Hero. So I don't see this one holding its value long game, and that's just me. Next, looking at €9. Not terrible. I mean, $9, like $10 ain't terrible. Aquaman is about $14 on the light play, but near mint it's about $15. To be honest with you, this card, if you guys want to keep playing Grandis, go that route. If you guys were waiting for Grandis to go lower, possibly this might be the lowest you're going to see this card for a while. I don't see it dropping down to $10, but 15 is kind of acceptable. I feel like this is a very solid buy-in, but it is creeping down slower and slower. But that's just me. On the Europe side, there are about €8, so there is a gap, but it's not a terrible one, so I would say like $10. So Metal Greymon Altarius mode. Yeah, tongue tied. Looking at $17. I'm close to 18 for a 2 of card in most Black War Greymon decks or even War Greymon decks. I don't see getting behind this at this price. Maybe when it becomes like $12, fine. But outside of that, nothing too crazy here. We're looking at €12. Well, $13. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel it. Deltamon. Deltamon had a buyout, boys and girls. This wasn't what I was expecting for it, but I knew that eventually cards like this do happen. And it's just because of Black War Greymon hype, X and, BT11. Everyone's going to want to get their stuff now. But since we're going to have a massive gap of time between, EX3 and BT11, it doesn't even come out till Nationals. This card's going to come down. People aren't willing to hold cards for long. And after Nationals, guess what happens? All cards flood the market. And this is just how that kind of goes. So, just something to worry about. Looking like €4. I don't hate it. Matt and Sora pre-release stamp. This card was like $6 and then recently just went for a buyout. There are decks starting to play it, and it's still a decent card all around generalization, so I don't have an issue. It's kind of expensive for me, but I wouldn't buy it at this point either. On the Europe side, yeah, it's $2 still. Yeah, that's not worth it. Agumon X Antibody. This is another Black War Greymon overhype. In my opinion, this card is just not worth that $30 mark. To be honest with you, yes, it's a cool art, and even the pre-release stamp is another alternate art, but guys, this isn't worth it. It really isn't. That's just too expensive for this card. And everyone thinks, Black War Greymon's the end-all be-all because it should be broken tier 1 if it can beat cross art every time. Doesn't mean you're going to face cross art every time. So, and really, it didn't gain any support in this set. It just became a very tamer-reliant set, but doesn't guarantee that the deck's going to always take the W. You gotta bob and weave here, and there's sometimes you're just not going to get there. €11. I mean, hey, just think about it. On the pre-release stamp version of Agumon X Antibody is bought out completely. Kind of crazy people went this hype, but it's a good card. It just, I don't see backing it. I don't. About, yeah, €2, $2. Ain't worth it. Santi from the Dash Pack is $13. After that crazy buyout, I'm glad it's coming back down into a reasonable range. $13 is not bad, and it's quite useful. It's max rarity at 2 in your Bloom Lord decks anyway, so there are the pre-release version, which can bide you over till it's ready. So, just looking at it from that angle. On the Europe side, it's about €5. I would like for this to come back at that. Veedramon from the starter deck, All Force Veedramon, Championship Online Regional participation, $16. Guys, we have so many now alternate arts of this card that I don't think justified getting this, because you can wait for the advanced deck at this point, and it would not matter in the slightest on what you get. So just looking at it at a different angle. Veedramon is about €13, about $13. This Gammamon here, I love the effect. Your turn, when you have a red tamer in play, this Digimon can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. I love it that Konos Wisemon can use its effect as, inheritables and stuff like that as a permanent effect on the top end. It's a very powerful card, and give it time. When the set drops, the one where the megas kind of just come into the game, I will be honest with you, I expect this card to go way up. because this card was back in BT08. It'll be way too far back for it to actually have easy access to. So it might be a card you want to just have on your back burner and just keep an eye out on. Looking at it, Europe side's about 50 cents. Not bad. Mega Dramon from X Record. People are still hyping that this Black War Greymon should, with this card, be able to take care of all cross heart in a heartbeat. I'm going to be honest with you, it's not the end all be all. Cross heart is still faster than Black War Greymon at the moment. And Black War Greymon doesn't always have the full on protection. Europe side, about €2. $2, not bad. Sunrise Buster, we're looking at $28 here. It's going to hold this price. I'm going to be honest with you. If you didn't get your copies, you missed out on it. But, you know, it is a rare. So that's something to think about it. It does have a foily setup anyway. So Sunamon is about 20 bucks, light played. But, you know, it's about near mint is about $21. I would not touch this with a 10-foot pole with Sunamon. So that's just about something to think about here. This is the pre-release Sunamon, so it's max rarity. So I don't justify the pre-release stamps like that. €11. Yeah, I could get behind 11. 20, no. Outside of that, Mega Digimon Fusion from the pre-release cards. This stamp had a crazy buy-in and making it being bought out to 20 bucks. Would I touch this? No, not for 20 bucks. Ban cards, don't see this coming off any ban list anytime in the future. Europe side, it's about €3. $3. I like that price. And then finally, let's wrap this up on Howling Memory Boost from Double Diamond pre-release cards. So this card is $9, about 10 bucks. I remember this card being like 20 a piece and stuff like that, but then it just slowly died down. This card is played in Blue Flare, and it might be worth having your play set up. I know there is the other version that doesn't have pre-release stamp, but most people do like to covet the high rarity stuff. But that one is a lot cheaper if you guys can't dive into that money market. You know, this is on the high end rarities sometimes we talk about. On the Europe side, about €5. So guys, you know, $5 isn't terrible. But what do you guys think of the market watch? How many mistakes did I make? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next video. Stay safe, stay healthy. Peace.